To start out, Penn State versus Clemson in the preseason national championship. Just kidding. Pinstripe Bowl. Wow. This literally would have been the national championship according to a ton of people at the beginning of the season. Penn State was destined for it. Clemson was destined for it. And here we are, two, I believe, 6-6 teams just clinging to bowl eligibility.
You know what is the weird part? If you told me at preseason who was going to win this game, I'd be like, man, that's a tough game to pick. I don't know. Now at the end of the season, how we know how these guys' seasons turned out, I still have no idea. It's still a toss-up.
But it's not because they're dominant. It's because they are not dominant. They are very much not dominant.
Yeah. I don't. Very odd. Who did Connor pick? We'll go with him first.
All right. Connor picked in a very long-winded, of all the picks, this is the one where he's like, I don't know. I guess Penn State. That's what he said, basically. So,
really?
Yep.
I haven't looked at the opt-outs.
He was surprised that they made a bowl game. He was like, I guess Penn State.
Wasn't Penn State like, were they 9-4 or 8-5? 8-5?
Mm-mm. They were both pretty close to 500. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Penn State. Remember, it took them to like week 8 to get their first Power 5 win.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think they're 6-6, but maybe they're 7-5. Let's see.
7-5. Anyway,
6-6.
Man, this is
Clemson is 7-5. Penn State is 6-6.
Okay. Man, I'll be honest. I don't know the opt-outs on this one. Because my heart wants to say Clemson, but if they have a bunch of opt-outs, and I would say Clemson because I think Klubnik's had a really tough year, and he really needs to make something happen during this game if he wants any sort of career in the NFL. But I could see Peter Woods opting out. I could see a bunch of Clemson's big-time players opting out because of the NFL, and not as many on Penn State. Although Penn State probably had a bunch of players opt out because transfers to Virginia Tech. Man, I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say Clemson. All right, now you're going to tell me how I'm wrong and all the opt-outs.
Yeah, Chance. I was nice to you earlier. I told you some of the opt-outs.
I know Clemson has a bunch because they have some good players.
I remember a couple weeks ago when I picked Boise State and somebody felt the need to completely leave out the fact that Maddox Madsen was out at the time for the season, but then he came back miraculously a couple weeks later. So, sorry, got to meet you there. But I'm rocking with Penn State. This game you didn't make a terrible bet here. There's opt-outs on both sides. Most of them for Penn State are players that are going to the draft. They just don't want to get hurt. They don't feel it's worth it. They only have one transfer portal guy. For the Virginia Tech thing you're talking about, most of those were recruits. They weren't on the team yet. They flipped their commitment from Penn State to Virginia Tech to go with why am I forgetting his name? James Franklin. For Clemson is losing a lot of defense. That is what they lost nobody on offense. That
was not their strength.
Yeah. They lost Khalil Barnes, safety, Jamal Anderson, linebacker, DeMonte Capehart, defensive tackle, Avion Terrell, corner, and to an injury. D. Creighton, linebacker, TJ Parker, edge, Antonio Williams, one wide receiver, one offensive player to the draft, and Peter Woods, defensive tackle. Most half of them to transfer portal, the other half to NFL draft, and a singular injury. So that does suck. They're losing. They're a huge portion of these are notable. So these are a lot of starters, or at least their backups. So that's not a good look for them. Penn State is losing a lot of offense. They have a couple defense. They have a corner, a safety, a D-line. But the biggest one that I saw is Nicholas Singleton. That's their backup running back. He's not their best running back, but he has amazing stats. He is getting ready He's getting ready for the draft, so he opted out of this game. Weirdly enough, their starter is going to be playing. That's why I'm sticking with Penn State. Is they did lose an offensive lineman. They are losing their second best running back, but they still have the guy that was putting up numbers against Ohio State, Indiana. Like he was playing against good teams when he was putting up these numbers. So I will say Indiana did hold him. They actually let Singleton get some yards on him. He had like 80, I think. I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but he actually did get bottled up against Indiana. But the other games of the year, he actually played really well. It was his team that let him down. So I'm rocking with Penn State just because their defense got absolutely destroyed by this, and Penn State. I don't think they'll have to score too much unless Klubnik really needs to put on a show. I could totally see that. He does need to look good right before the draft if he wants to get drafted by a good team. Otherwise, it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, I don't even think he's on the draft board right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Penn State. You look at them, and yes, they're 6-6, bad season, but it was like close losses versus some good teams too. So
some of them,
it's not as bad as maybe the record points out. So I can totally see Penn State winning, but yeah, I'm gonna go with my gut.
They're both the two sides of the same coin. These are both teams that had top 10 recruiting classes and should have been amazing. So for them to underperform so bad, really, it does speak to the coaching staff. So I get why they fired Franklin. It's not looking good for them now because who did they sign? Oh yeah, Iowa State's coach.
Matt Campbell.
Yeah, he's a good coach, but obviously he did not have a great season for Iowa State. They had a lot of injuries, but he's had one good season with Iowa State and one not so good season with them. So we'll see how he does, but right now that firing might not have been the best. Obviously you lost a lot of people in your recruiting class, but we'll see what Matt Campbell can do there. But yeah, I'm rocking with Penn State in this one. It could go either way. Truly, there's so many opt-outs. It's hard to guess these ones.